Hi everyone, welcome to our session today. So today's session is on honesty and the corresponding is non-lying. And of course, we have another aspect of that, which is called accurate perception. So since we're going to be covering the topic of pride today, we thought we will include accurate perception. Okay, so with that, let's start. Let's close our eyes, connect the tongue to the palate, inhale and exhale. Let us invoke to the Supreme God. Divine Father, Divine Mother, we thank you for your priceless blessings, for divine light, divine love, divine guidance, divine love, mercy, inner healing, physical healing. Thank you for the inner strength to practice regularly. Thank you for your divine help and protection, for illumination, abundance, and prosperity. We thank you. Gently open your eyes. So we'll start with Super Brain Yoga. The reason we do Super Brain Yoga before the sessions is to help us to balance our chakras, our upper chakras and our lower chakras. So let's start with that. And let's start with that. So let's cross our arms in front of our chest, connect the tongue to the palate. Let's all face east as that is a safe direction for everyone. In case you are a woman having a menstrual cycle, please don't do this exercise right now. This is basically from an energy perspective. And 2 days before, 2 days after your menstrual cycle, we don't do this particular exercise. To understand more, you can read the book Super Brain Yoga. Okay, so let's start. I think Priya is ready. So as we inhale, we are going to do a semi squat. Okay, let's start. Inhale, go down, one. Inhale, go down, two. Inhale, go down, three. Inhale, go down, four. Inhale, go down, five. Inhale, go down, six. And the last one. Okay, so with that, we'll start with our talk today. So today's talk, like we said, is on honesty and accurate perception. So as you may have seen in our little posters, what we did is we had this spectacle and then there was blurry vision and then there was clear vision. So obviously, if our vision is clear in front of us, then we can see better. And then there is the connection of pride with this. So what I have understood from Master Choa Kok Sui's teachings is that when we are not honest or when we tell a lie, what we are basically doing is that we are creating a, let's say, a fuzziness or a fog in front of the other person. So suppose I tell a lie to somebody, then I have created a fog in front of them. And so what happens is that with consecutive sessions of lying either to them or to others, or as the case may be, what we need to keep in mind is that that fog is not just in front of that person, the fog is also in front of us. In fact, it's more in front of us. So every time, let's say I tell a lie, there will be a fog. I tell another lie, another fog, and another fog. So what will happen is over time, my entire vision becomes foggy. So what will happen with that is that when something is in front of us, we will not be able to see it accurately. And obviously, if we can't see something accurately, then how do we deal with it, right? So that's why honesty is so important, and that's the role that it plays. I'm just going to read a little bit from the book Compassionate Objectivity by Master Choa Kok Sui. So he says here, the more you develop your virtues, the stronger your connection to God will become. Mastery of a virtue is the degree of mastery. So the reason we bring this up is because we need to be aware that we're not going to become totally honest overnight. Okay, it's going to take time. That's why the series is called character building, which is we build the character one step at a time. And so in that process, what we could possibly be aware of is what are firstly the small and harmless lies that we say, for example, like you don't want to go somewhere and you say, oh, I'm not well. Why would you say something like that? You can just say, hey, I'm not up to it, perhaps, if that works. Now, what happens to some of us is that, when our friends are insisting, we are kind of forced to lie. So that's up to you. You have to figure out what works for you. It works for some people, it doesn't work for some people. So again, character building, one step at a time. So we're going to talk about that again. So it says here, accurate perception means seeing things accurately. It's one of the most important virtues, and self-honesty makes big heads small. So this is where the aspect of pride comes in. So let's say, for example, you know, If we are really proud about something, then perhaps what happens is that our head becomes really big. And then if we meet somebody who is a little bit better than us in something else, or even in that particular skill, then what happens is we begin to have what's called inverted pride, which is basically low self-esteem. So this pride and this lack of pride, this pride and this inverted pride basically play a little bit of a game. And one of the important things with perception is that, um, okay, let's say we're driving down a hilly mountain. I don't know how many of us here have been to the nearby hill areas like Darjeeling and Kalimpong. And when we are going on the road, sometimes there's a fog, right? And where there's a fog, then the car has to move slowly. You can't see too far ahead, so you can't plan. And of course, you have to be very, very careful. And of course, the speed, right, gets compromised. So one of the things with honesty is that if we are not honest, then our speed begins to come down because the amount of fog that is in front of us becomes very, very high. Okay. Now, the other thing Master Choa Kok Sui says is be realistic. Believe in something when it is validated or verified. And he also says clear mindedness is not emotional bullheadedness. Okay. He says check what is the actual condition. Okay. So let's say we are in a Ferrari and we are going up the hills of Darjeeling. We are not going to race at that point. Okay. Because if there is a fog, if there is a hilly road, then we need to be clear about what is in front of us. So honesty is a virtue that will help us to perceive the world properly, and it's only when we perceive something properly that we can actually do the right thing. So if you may have heard of stories of, let's say, King Solomon or other great kings who have meted out justice in a really good way, they're known for meting out justice. So one of the things that we may observe, you can, if they're with their permission, scan their chakras. If you're a healer, you can just basically request the soul for permission and scan their chakras, and you will find probably that their chakras related to honesty and non-lying are very, very strong. What that basically means is that when they see something, when they perceive something, they are able to differentiate between the truths and lies. Okay, I know there are modern days there are lie detectors. So there are people who, over time, because of their intuition, because of their own honesty, are able to tell when someone is lying to them. Okay, so this is something that develops over time. As a healer, also, we can probably explain to you that as we do more and more healing, our perception becomes very, very clear because we are removing the negativities, the vices of so many people from their chakras, then automatically by the law of karma, our perception begins to improve. So one of the things that I would recommend to all the people who are here who have at least done basic pranic healing is to take up healing. Okay, heal somebody sometime. Okay. Now he also says, do not swallow everything blindly. Avoid superstitious beliefs. Use intelligent evaluation and make your own conclusions. So that goes for other things, and it also goes for things that we say here on this channel. We would like you to evaluate for yourselves whether what we are saying is making sense to you, and to adopt it when it makes sense to you. Okay. So we had a question come in, and what's really important I want to cover here is do not be impressed or fooled by esoteric or scientific speculations. Analyze them deeply and objectively. So even when we teach something like the basic pranic healing workshop, we tell people, don't believe what the trainer, which is in this case me, is saying to you. Understand, keep an open mind, understand what is being taught to you, and then if you find that it is useful, then you implement it in your life, you validate it for yourself. I thought about this initially a lot, and I was like, why would Master say something like that? He himself is such an evolved being. Why would he say don't believe even me, like even Master Choa blindly? So after thinking, the conclusion that I sort of came to is that today, if I encourage people to believe me blindly, or if Master Choa encourages people to believe him blindly, then tomorrow, the flavor of the day changes and they may believe somebody else blindly too. And that doesn't really help us, because the objective for all of us is to be beings of divine light, divine love, and divine power, which means that our perception for ourselves needs to be very clear. Okay. Why would that be important? So let's say, for example, we're all traveling together, and let's say Master Choa is the leader, and then let's say, there's the rest of us, the instructors, the helpers, the coordinators, and then there's, the whole group that we are trying to help. Now, if the coordinators don't have clear vision, how will they guide people who are behind them? Right? Or who are at least traveling with them. So accurate perception really helps us when we are working with people, both for ourselves. Now, let's say, for example, if we are, again, I'm using the example of a mountain because I'm finding that easiest right now. So let's say, for example, if there is a downturn or a step, and if the leader doesn't have accurate perception, then the whole group is going to stumble into that low area, right? But if the leader has correct vision and correct perception, then the leader will be like, listen, stop, okay? Then the other thing that the leader needs to also have, for example, is the ability to know what they can do and what they cannot do. Let's say, okay, so let's say, for example, I'm the leader of this particular group and we are going along our merry way. And then suddenly we come across something. Okay. And let's say there is a huge log in front of us. Now, I need to have the accurate perception that I alone cannot lift this log, that I need help. Right. So, again, accurate perception also comes in of where we say our strengths and our weaknesses. So, perhaps physical strength is not so much my strength at this point. So, I may need to take help from other people. Now, in order to take help from other people, we also need to have the humility to accept that we don't have a strength in a certain area. Now, when it comes to physical, it becomes much easier for us to accept that, okay, maybe I'm not as strong. And we may even say that to people, hey, I'm not physically that strong. But when it comes to other things, we may have some misperceptions about that. So, one of the things that I also suggest often to people who come to us for advice is, if you want advice on pranic healing, yes, I can help you. If you want advice on other matters, yes, I can help you. But there are certain matters which I cannot help you, in the sense that if you want advice on carpentry, I may have your best interest at heart, but I'm not a good carpenter. Okay. So, similarly, over time, what I would request all of us is, over time, as we talk to more and more people about life and taking advice, try to develop at least 5 counselors. This is again what I'm suggesting is, one person for emotional issues, one person for financial issues, one person for career, one person for family, one person for any other project that you have, any other hobbies that you have. So try to develop multiple counselors and evaluate whether the advice of that particular counselor is actually working for you. And when I say counselor, I don't mean professional. It could just be your parent or your sibling or whoever, or a friend. Okay, what tends to happen is that the person that we love the most, we tend to ask them for advice for everything under the sun. Okay, but they may not be the right person to advise us on that. So again, honesty and non-lying. So um, I remember there was this one case that we had where this lady was following her mother's advice when it came to her marital relationship, and things were not improving. So when we were dealing with the case, we asked this lady, I said, how is your mother's relationship with your father? And she said, it's terrible. And so I remember telling her, I said, listen, if your mother's relationship with your father is not good, then how do you think that taking her advice is going to help you improve your relationship with your husband? So look for somebody whose marriage is on a better footing and take advice from them. Take tips from them. Nothing wrong with your parents. We're not saying that your parents are not good people. We're just saying that for this particular matter, you're better off taking advice from somebody else. And of course, the best form of advice is ourselves, to depend on ourselves, to develop our own intuition. And one of the ways that we do that is by doing the Twin Hearts meditation, by doing healing, self healing for ourselves and others. We can really build our intuition. Some of you who've joined us for a while, you may have noticed that your intuition is becoming more and more powerful. Yeah. Now, one more thing to keep in mind is, as the intuition becomes powerful, we also need to be aware of something that Master calls correct expression, which we will talk about in the next episode. Because when we can see things clearly, it doesn't mean that we can just say what comes to our mind. Okay, we have to be careful about what we say. So that comes to correct expression. And going back to 2 episodes earlier when we talked about loving kindness, I would like to remind all of us that loving kindness is the first virtue that we practice in the school, which means that if something is hurtful, then honesty is not the first virtue. Loving kindness is the first virtue. Okay. If we can say something that is honest with kindness, then it's okay. If we can't say it with kindness, then it is better not said at all. So going into the in what we call, I wouldn't say the hierarchy, but the order in which we build our character and we practice in the school is loving kindness first, then comes generosity, then comes honesty. Okay. So I hope that was helpful in putting things in perspective. The one of the reasons for doing this is, like I said, when we were all growing up, we heard so many things. We heard that ahimsa is the most important thing. We heard that honesty is the best policy. We heard that going the last mile is really important, the most important thing. And then by the time I was sort of grown up, I was highly confused. Which one comes first? Because sometimes we have to choose between them. And for us in the Pranic Healing School, we choose loving kindness first, then generosity, then honesty, and then as we go on with the other episodes, we'll talk about the other virtues. Okay. So if so, let's be aware of the energy, be aware of the crown, the heart, and the hands. Let's raise our hands in blessing position. Let us bless the entire planet Earth, all the residents of planet Earth, in the higher world, the middle world, the lower world, with accurate perception, with honesty about our goals, with honesty about our needs. What do we really need? I think COVID times have taught us what we really need with our family members: simple food, clean bed, love and affection, harmony and cooperation. That's for me. You may have different findings. Everyone's not the same. Okay. So let's bless the entire planet Earth, every person, every being affected by the COVID-19 virus. Let's bless everyone's financial targets. The year is coming to an end, so let's also evaluate and let's start to build new targets for the new year. Our health targets. Let's be grateful for the improvement in our health over this period. Our relationship targets. Let's be grateful for all the relationship challenges that we have overcome, that we have improved, and our spiritual targets. Also, let's be grateful for whatever spiritual targets we have been able to achieve. Let us remember that gratitude is a sure way of improving our lives. Okay, let's bless everyone else on the planet. Let's bless ourselves. Let's visualize ourselves. Let's visualize golden, beautiful pink energy coming from our crown, coming from the Supreme God, flowing into our aura, flowing into our physical body, our etheric body, our astral body, our mental body, to all our bodies. Let's also simultaneously be aware that the entity that is filling these bodies with all this beautiful energy is the soul. I am the soul. I am not the body. I have a body. I am not the emotions. I am filling my emotional body with some beautiful bright light, but I am not the emotions. I am not the thought. I am filling my mental body with beautiful clean energy. I am not the thoughts. I am not my mental body. I am the soul. I am a spiritual being of divine intelligence, divine love, and divine power. I am one with my higher soul. I am that I am. I am one with the divine spark within me. I am a child of God. I am connected with God. I am one with God and I am one with. Okay, let's bless people who have requested us for blessings. Let's invoke to the Buddha Kuan Yin for her divine, compassionate, purifying light and her healing, soothing energy to extract, externalize, and raise to higher vibrations all negativity related to the coronavirus. Let's feel the energy flowing through us. Let us be instruments of healing, of service to Mother Earth. Let us be channels to channel good energy to Mother Earth. Inhale deeply and gently and exhale. Once you're done, massage your face, scalp, neck, shoulders, arms, chest, spleen, liver, kidneys at the back, the hips, the thighs. I hope you had a good session of healing and meditation. So again, those of us who are watching this later on YouTube, you may join us live at on our schedule, which is given in the box below. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining for the session. Those of us who are watching this session later on YouTube, you're welcome to join us for our live sessions, which is as per the schedule below, and receive healing. We do mass healing for everybody who is present in the meditation. And of course, we also do the Twin Hearts meditation. Okay, so thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you soon for the next episode, which is correct expression in the character building series. And that's it. Merry Christmas. See you soon.